Imagine a place where love potions can be brought in respectable establishments, where perfume houses create beautiful sensual scents that not only satisfy the demand for novelty, but through complex alchemy become catalysts for quiet revolution. Welcome to the world of 1911 and the creation of Ernest Daltroff's masterpiece, Narcisse Noir. "1911 fell at the close of the Belle Epoque, the beautiful era of opulent Art Nouveau. However, Narcisse Noir, dark, troubling, and iconoclastic, became part of a new era that produced revolutionary works like Stravinsky's Rite of Spring and Duchamp's Nude Descending Staircase. This new modern movement became an important disruptive influence on culture and the arts for decades to come. Ernest Daltroff acquired the small perfume house of Magasin Caron and established it as his own in 1904. It's said that he chose Parfum Caron because the name is short and easy to pronounce. Caron sounds French, unlike his own foreign-sounding name. Daltroff considered this an advantage in a country still ill at ease following the Dreyfus affair. It appears that Daltroff conducted an important affair of his own with his business partner, Félicité Vampuis. The affair was sometimes secret, at other times blatant. Vampuis became collaborator, muse, and lover to Daltroff. The dramatic sexual tension of their love provided inspiration for the creation of Narcisse Noir itself. By this point, I know you're dying to ask, what does Narcisse Noir smell like? Well, before I tell you, I have to make something clear. Here are 2 bottles of perfume, with the same name, made by the same perfume house, Caron, but at different times, and they don't smell the same. I don't know the date of this vintage bottle of Narcisse Noir, and although the box is embossed with the first address for Caron, 10 Rue de la Paix, I don't believe this bottle is old enough to have been carried off the Titanic and saved from the icy water. This classic black box with the gorgeous bottle, which was originally produced by the glassmaker Pantin, was in production for decades. What I do know is the perfume it contains is the real deal. This bottle of Narcisse Noir was produced by Caron in 2007. The newer fragrance contains some of the notes of the original, orange blossom, jasmine, and so on, and it smells pleasant, but it doesn't smell extraordinary or legendary. The perfume in the old bottle is bewitching, complex, and erotic. The more recent edition is missing a lot. Imagine a copy made on a faulty copying machine, using a cartridge that's run out of ink. To quote Tina Sanchez from that indispensable work, Perfumes, the A to Z Guide, "Shed a tear for Narcisse Noir. Where's the darkness, the strangeness, the smell of the cold damp ashes after a bonfire, the animal breath, the drama?" Ah, animal breath. Perhaps you're wondering what the hell animal's breath is doing in a bottle of perfume. Hold the thought and I'll come back to you. The magic in the potion comes from the blending of white flowers, orange blossom, jasmine, and narcissus, with base notes including sandalwood, musk, and civet. The result of this alchemy is a heavy, complex, sensuous, dark, and carnal scent. It seems that Daltroff was creating an imaginary flower, a black narcissus, that doesn't exist in reality, though it's often listed as a perfume note. Here is an absolute of Narcissus poeticus, the flower used in perfumery. It's similar to jonquil. When I smell the bottle without opening it, it's remarkably powerful and uncannily like this Joy Parfum by Patou. Here is magic trickery, because joy contains many flowers, rose, jasmine, ylang. If I open the absolute and smell it, the scent is very strong, floral, like pollen, and earthy. The absolute's been described as having narcotic qualities. When you realize that a single ingredient can smell so multifaceted, one begins to understand the complex nature of Narcisse Noir. The dominant flower in Narcisse Noir is orange blossom, which is rich to the point of being creamy and rather sensuous. The scent of the flower is considered an aphrodisiac. Traditionally, orange blossom is associated with virginity and marriage. In Narcisse Noir, the delicious sensual side of the note is strongly emphasized. Obviously, white flowers are floral smelling and often sweet. The perfumer's dirty secret, or one of them, is that the very same flowers often carry an indolic, frankly fecal note. There's the same reason why a beautiful flower smells this way. Blue bottles are pollinators too. The flowers in Narcisse Noir are not indolic, but they have been blended with musks and civet, which give the scent various animalic notes. Thankfully, high-quality synthetics are used instead of animals for nearly all perfumery today. It is strange indeed that the secretion from the back end of a forest cat could play such an important role in creating scent. Here again is the magic of the alchemist. Unpleasant-smelling extracts at the correct dilution, when blended expertly, can smell good, clean, and as innocent as baby skin. They can also be blended to smell very different, raunchy or carnal, downright sexy in fact. I hope I'm beginning to give you some sense of what this perfume smells like. Now let's talk about animal's breath. If you've ever fed a horse or been licked by a cow or ox, particularly on a cold day, you'll have noticed the animal's breath. Slightly metallic, a little sweet, but comforting and warm. This note's interesting to be sure, but a breath comes before and after a kiss, does it not? So what to make of this carnival of the animal notes? In truth, they're a subconscious reminder of the animal nature of human beings, and the purpose of existence. Civet's been described as a cat call, but the call here is from one human to another. Likewise, the oranges of musk may be animal, but the note reminds us of the human skin or body. Even gourmand notes, which seem at first entirely innocent, can evolve as they dry down in contact with human skin. Vanilla and vanillin mutates from baby milk to a sensual note that's been described as a psychogenic aphrodisiac. With all these layers working together at once, it's no wonder that Narcisse Noir is known for its complexity and drama. Yet though this perfume is dark and has even sometimes been referred to as Stygian, there's nothing ugly or brutal about it. We may have come a long way from the notion of a woman smelling like a violet flower or rose bloom, but as she walks in beauty like the night, the wearer of Narcisse Noir becomes fascinating and perhaps seductive. You may be thinking this is all a little much for a scent in a bottle, but listen to what Caron says about Narcisse Noir on its own website. Narcisse Noir revealed one of Ernest Daltros's most burning obsessions, white flowers. For his whole life, our founder was fascinated by these jewel flowers, both innocent and untamed, luminous and full of mystery. Narcisse Noir is a memorable confession of these traits. Fashioned like a chiaroscuro, this fragrance is an impressive ode to the two faces of orange blossom. The tiny flower becomes a grand diva, dramatic and exuberant. It exhibits an immense beauty, but also its darkest moods. This fragrance is a masterpiece of audacity and creativity, a legend at the peak of sensuality. It's the signature of a feline woman with an untamable spirit, an angel and a demon at the same time. So in its original form, Narcisse Noir is heavy, animal and dark. This may pose a problem for some perfume enthusiasts today, because vampish scents, and Narcisse Noir is definitely ideal for a vamp or femme fatale, are out of fashion today. Vampish scents had an extremely long run and were popular right up until the 1990s, and then what happened? The erotic and intricate in perfume was overtaken by ersatz spray-on cleanliness, or unisex scents and things that smell overtly gourmand, and sometimes sickly sweet. Certainly clean had been done before. Does anything smell cleaner than Esté's white linen? Oh, I know Gendarme is cleaner still. Esté also made alliage for women who were sporty and wanted to remain smelling fresh. In fact, I appreciate and like all of these fragrances, but nevertheless I lament very much the end of the mysterious decadence and the onslaught of in-your-face perky fragrances. So why is Narcisse Noir important? Firstly, the perfume was a crucial success for the House of Caron, and following a license deal in the United States, it sold so well that it established the reputation of the house itself. By the 1920s and 30s, it was widely known, and indeed culturally significant. It became associated with a number of books, films, and plays. In Noel Coward's sensationally successful play The Vortex from 1924, the scent is mentioned by name. One of the decadent characters, Florence, not only wears Narcisse Noir, but rubs the tip of her cigarettes with a perfume stopper. The silent film star Gloria Swanson became associated with Narcisse Noir through the legend that she insisted the set of Sunset Boulevard be sprayed with the scent. The film brilliantly creates the life of a woman holding on to her youth and the past by entombing herself in a house where time has stopped. Swanson is said to have worn the perfume when young and used it as a psychic aid to invoke the magical, strange, dramatic and decadent life she knew. Undoubtedly, the dark, seductive character of the perfume in the film aligned perfectly. It's not that you need to be the sort of person who buries their pet chimpanzee in a satin-lined coffin by moonlight, dressed in a black veil, to enjoy the perfume. But could a woman who would do such a thing wear anything else? Of closest apparent association of Narcisse Noir with a cultural artifact is Gudrun Godden's novel Black Narcissus and the film of the book by Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger. I say apparent because Black Narcissus is the English translation of Narcisse Noir, and there were in fact several other perfumes called Black Narcissus by the 1930s. We'll look at Caron's legal case to try and protect the name of their perfume shortly. Notwithstanding, Caron themselves are happy to associate their perfume with the movie and the book. Furthermore, Narcisse Noir is entirely appropriate as a seductive and hypnotic echo of the passion that sends one of the nuns in the film literally over the edge. Published in 1939, Black Narcissus describes the disorientation, eventual fragmentation of English nuns in the Indian Himalayas. Powell and Pressburger created a dazzlingly beautiful technicolor world. In fact, two worlds. The high bleached white convent of St. Faith, inhabited by nuns in white habits, who gaze across the snows and crystal blue sky. Below is a lush valley of green inhabited by mountain people. The sisters set up a school, and one day in class a bejeweled, perfumed Indian general, Dilip Rai, removes his scarf scented with black narcissus, obtained, he says, at the Army and Navy store in London. One of the nuns, Sister Ruth, is troubled by it. "I don't like the scent at all," she declares. However, the fragrance mesmerizes local girl Kanchi, who begins an affair with Dilip. Their passion is illicit due to their respective social standing, but the pair are not pulled down into the troubling currents at St. Faith's. A triangle of passion then develops between British agent Mr. Dean, superior Sister Clodagh, and Sister Ruth, which becomes deadly dangerous. The Sisters of St. Faith are blown off course by their stark, disconcerting environment. Too near to heaven, the high convent is a singularly unsuitable place for a group of industrious holy women. Ruth renounces her vows and goes mad after being rejected by Dean. She tries to kill Clodagh by pushing her over the high cliff into the valley below, before slipping herself to her death. The novel's title reflects the important role the perfume plays as a stimulus and symbol for the unconscious but pervasive effect of human feelings on a group of people who, to one extent or another, attempt to suppress their emotions in order to get through their daily lives. It's as if under the hypnotic effect of Black Narcissus, the more the characters try to escape their past or the present, the stronger their passions pull them off kilter. The potent ability that perfume has of reminding us of a time and place is felt strongly by the nuns. They cannot focus on their daily duties and prayer because the past keeps calling them, while Mr. Dean's presence is a troubling reminder of the opposite sex. It is worth noting that the word narcissus is derived from the Greek root narke, which means to numb or stupefy. Of course, wearing a perfume is the last thing a nun would ever do. Complex scents like Narcisse Noir remind us of the human body. They convey unspoken messages that stimulate and suggest to whoever smells the scent that the wearer is an arresting, alluring physical entity. To wear a great perfume is to become delicious and desirable. Having met with great success, Caron saw that their product was worth protecting. By the 1920s, a number of rival fragrances of similar names had appeared. Narcisse d'Or by Jean Clair, Narcisse Royal by Colin de Paris, and Narcisse Blanc et Noir by Mornay Frères. Caron sued several firms, including Dumouriez, for their Moonglow Narcissus. The case reached the New York Supreme Court. The judge recorded Caron's argument as being that the word narcissus is suggestive, that it's been used by the plaintiff in an arbitrary and fanciful sense, and that therefore the plaintiff is entitled to restrain the use of a similar word in a similar sense. The judge ruled, however, that the narcissus in this phrase was descriptive of a flower rather than suggestive, and therefore could be used by anybody. Caron's strategy may have failed, but Narcisse Noir was already preeminent, and its success continued to grow. How interesting that Caron had first promoted their fragrance as an essence of a supposed species, but then brought a case valuing their creation as a work of artistry and imagination. Of course, flowers and scents have inspired the creative imaginations of artists for centuries. In this work, The Sensitive Plant from 1820, Percy Bysshe Shelley describes the narcissus flower as the most beautiful of all flowers. And Narcissi, the fairest among them all, whose gaze on their eyes in the stream's recess, till they die of their own dear loveliness. Narcisse Noir, bewitching and scandalous. You must have it. But wait, There's nowhere near enough for it to go round, and you're not having mine. You better hurry. Good hunting.